his cloak and stamping at the threshold.
"He does want to talk to you, sir, but he will not come up."
"Oh, does he say why?"
"No, sir. He seems most stubborn about it. I told him that the tracker was not in the habit of meeting strange men in the cold streets instead of his warm lodgings."
No, indeed. He had no wish to leave the feeble warmth of his room, but the larder was decidedly bare. It seems I have no choice but to humour this miscreant. Tell me, Jack, how did he seem to you? What was his character? He knew the boy liked to show off his growing skills, and on cue Jack puffed up and hooked his thumbs in his belt.
"Well, now, he's a man of middle years, well-spoken, neat and clean."
"London or foreign?"
"Foreign. French, I think. His speech has got a light touch, if you get my meaning. He seems like a gentleman."
"Then he'll have the coin. Very well. I shall meet this mysterious man on the street." Crispin buttoned his cloak up tight, pulled his chaperon hood up over his head, and yanked open the frostbitten door. He trotted down the narrow stairwell, mindful of the icy last step, and when he reached the lane, he studied the man with steel-grey eyes. The man turned and measured Crispin, but did not approach. Instead he bowed. "Do I have the pleasure of meeting the great Crispin Guest?" The accent was soft, but unmistakably French. "Great is a matter of perspective, but Crispin Guest I am. And you, sir? You find your occupation by staring at my window. To what end?" The man took a step closer. Crispin eyed his gown, a dark woolen robe cut in solemn lines and trimmed with black fur. His skin was pale, and his beard grew past his chin, but was not long enough to graze his chest. There, on the breast of his gown, Crispin observed something unexpected, a round, yellow patch carefully stitched into place. The man saw Crispin eye it, but did not comment. "My name is Jacob of Provençal." He stepped closer. "I am a physician, from the continent." Crispin said nothing, waiting. The man continued. "I have heard others speak of you, of this tracker. You find things, lost things." "Indeed, it is my bread and butter." His stomach took that moment to growl. The tips of his ears warmed. The man smiled. "En effet, I am looking for a most important object, a dangerous one. It must be found before... well, it simply must. I beg that you come to my lodgings, and we shall discuss it there." Crispin turned an eye to his window, knowing well Jack was spying on them. "And where are your lodgings?" "At court." He hadn't meant to, but Crispin stiffened. The man watched him with a judicious eye. "I have also heard," the man said carefully, "that you may not be welcomed there." An understatement. "It would be difficult, my going to King Richard's palace, but I know of another place that might suit, some place closer. Will you permit me to lead you to an alehouse?" The man hesitated. He pressed a pale finger to his lip and glanced up at Crispin's shuttered window before he lowered his head. He muttered something under his breath and lifted his face. "Very well, then. Lead me." Crispin tramped through the slushy snow with rag-stuffed boots. He did not wait for the sound of the man's footfalls behind him, though they came anyway in a faint and reluctant step. He tried to tread into the already dark hoof-marks carved into the snowy streets, but his stride was not as long as the draught-horse's, and his boots were soaked and cold by the time he made the turn at the corner to Gutter Lane, where the boar's tusk cast its weighty shadow across the road. When he came to the door, he waited. The man approached, and Crispin opened it, gesturing him through. Crispin followed him in, and the warmth, which his own humble lodgings lacked, clapped his cold cheeks hard. He felt his bones thaw as he moved into the dim room to find his usual seat near the fire, his back to the wall and facing the door. He gestured for the man to sit opposite him. Jacob gathered his cloak and gown around him and sat gingerly on the bench. It wasn't long before a plump matron came to their table with a sweating jug in one hand and 2 clay bowls in the other. "Crispin!" she said with a wide smile. Eleanor, seeing her warm and friendly face, touched off a spark of warmth within him. She and her husband Gilbert owned the boar's tusk. They were the first to befriend him since he came to the shambles some 7 years ago. "Will you share wine with me, Master Jacob?" said Crispin to the wary man. Jacob shook his head and squinted at Eleanor's expression. "I mean no offence to the good woman here, or to her establishment, but I may not partake of anything here." Crispin's eyes flicked to the yellow ruelle on the